Hi everyone, my name is Blair Lloyd. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Special Education here at Vanderbilt University, and I'm here to introduce an example of a behavioral equivalent to mastery measurement. Okay, so when we need to measure behavior change during intensive behavioral interventions, we often assess progress towards some behavioral expectation through direct observation. And in many cases, some component of the intervention itself may be modified in response to some documented change in behavior. So for those of you who are already familiar with some behavioral terminology, we might refer to this process broadly as shaping or reinforcing closer and closer approximations to some targeted behavioral expectation. Whether that's a distinct topography or form of behavior, whether that might be a duration of behavior we're trying to extend, or in some cases even complex chains or sequences of behavior. So in the study you'll be reading by Gray and colleagues, it's the duration of appropriate waiting behavior, actually the duration without tantrum behavior, that's being shaped by gradually and systematically increasing the time the student was required to wait appropriately to access her preferred activities. So in terms of what to focus on in this study, it's probably most important to understand how progress toward the behavioral expectation, so in this case tolerating delays to reinforcement, how that progress was monitored in the study. And it's also important to appreciate the systematic nature with which authors increased the required wait time throughout the intervention. So you can see the incremental changes in program delays in Table 1 of the paper, and then in Figure 1 you can see pretty clearly that it wasn't until the student was successful across a number of consecutive sessions at each of those program durations that they moved on to the next criterion. You'll also notice that different stimuli were presented during the program delays to reinforcement across those phases of intervention, and those stimuli were meant to signal either that reinforcement was coming, or in the case of the time timer later on, to signal when reinforcement was coming. So you might think about why the addition of those signals in combination with that gradual and systematic increase in program delays, why those components were successful in teaching the student to tolerate extended delays to reinforcement. Some other components of this study, the functional assessment component and the changing criterion design, are probably less important for you to focus on at this point. You'll likely be hearing more about each of those topics in future modules. So take a look at the guiding questions. You might also think about whether in your previous clinical or teaching experience you've applied a similar method of monitoring gradual progress in behavior. And if not, how you might have done so. So either for similar types of behavior, things like behaviors addressing impulsivity or self-control, like in this study, or other types of behaviors, so things like extending duration on task or academically engaged, maybe even behavior chains, things like following schedules or completing a series of instructional tasks independently. So with that, I will leave you to it, and I'll look forward to seeing and hearing from some of you as you continue your program.